Kevin, speaking of Blake Griffin, I was fascinated. All I saw on Twitter, I was getting home from the Wolves game last night, which made me want to blow my brains out. And all I saw on Twitter was Blake Griffin was destroying Pau Gasol. I mean, just absolutely destroying him. It was like watching Saw or Hostel or some kind of snuff film or something. And then I went back and watched the game, and I was like, well, he had two really good dunks, but Pau Gasol shut him down essentially. Why is it that why don't we see that as a whole? Like, all everyone talked about were the dunks, and the dunks were great, and I get the highlights and the need for that. But why doesn't Pau Gasol get his just due for shutting him down?
I'm not under the impression that the average NBA fan cares about base defense. Are you?
Well, I mean, I know Warriors fans are.
Okay, I mean, it's just like, I mean, if they were, Iguodala would have, contracts in the 8 to 9 figure range. I mean, they just don't. I mean, NBA fans do not care about workaday base defense. I'm not chiding them for that. It's an entertainment product. But, it's like, our whining about, no one ever watched Deadwood.
Skeets is rolling over in his grave right now.
Okay, Griffin is quickly becoming, though, I think one of the most fascinating people to watch, because he elicits a emotional response, like a very visceral negative response. And I've compared it to, and I think we both like this comparison, to a WWF heel, like the guy who comes in to the mean music, who sneers at the crowd, who, like, when the ref's back is turned, he grabs the chair and whacks him. Like, that's what he did to Gasol with that little push in the back. Like, what is with this kid? He's so charming and nice off the court. What is going on?
Can I suggest something? And I've had a couple offline conversations with Blake, but I think there's a distinct possibility, and he would never admit it, that he is absolutely cognizant of this. That this is deliberate.
Right.
That this might be by design. And I don't know that I don't know that he'll cop to it. Maybe years later, maybe he'll go Barkley and there'll be this confessional. But I think we have to at least entertain the possibility, and I didn't prior to a couple of weeks ago, that this is very deliberate. And if it is it not ingenious? Everybody wants to be friggin' loved. No. Dwight Howard wants to be loved. LeBron wants to be loved. To the point of shiftiness. And it's very conceivable that Blake, that he is constructing a persona. And if he is, I mean, I think it's kind of cool.
It's an awesome persona.
Yes.
What would his wrestling name be? What would his wrestling name be? Like Bad Blake, or like what? It'd have to be like something really like simple,
like better than a
but mean sounding, like Rattlesnake Blake.
No, it's like I like Abdullah the Butcher is my favorite ever of all the heels.
Oh,
Blake the Butcher, that's awesome. Blake the Butcher is perfect.
But I think that we have to at least entertain that possibility. And if so, it's just the greatest thing ever. That a guy would say, you know what, I'm going to be the heel. And my fans in this small subset of Los Angeles will love me, but I'm going to welcome this. And you know what the thing is about the Clippers? I hope it's true. Because, and Jordan Heimer brought this up on our podcast the other day, I don't think the Clippers get to where they want to go, whether it's in the LA market, whether it's nationally, whether it's internationally in terms of relevance, without being really, really dislikable, without forging some sort of identity. I think it's awesome.
You mentioned
but dislikable in a way that's different than Spurs.
Ethan, you look confused.
No, I think that there might be something to this. I was just thinking about, I was trying to parse it about why specifically they needed to be dislikable or unlikable versus loved, because at the beginning of the season that they were loved. Why is loved out the window? Did that just not work, or did they just not win enough?
Love don't last. I'd rather be the
hate is forever.
I mean, look, like I'd rather be the Celtics and this. I mean, every team in the league hates those guys. It's not so much around the fans, but like I think the community of the NBA, like they hated the big three, in Boston. You know, the fans hate San Antonio. I mean, it seems like every team they hate the Heat. I mean, the Thunder have this endearing thing going, and you know, let's see how long it lasts.
For now, not for long though.
They hate Perkins and they hate Westbrook.
Yeah, but they love the smiling dolphin. I mean,
speaking of smiling dolphins, do you have a countdown for when Nick Young's contract is up with the Clippers? I know you're a huge Nick Young fan. I'm just wondering if you are counting down the days until he is unrestricted.
How do you 9 shots in 11 minutes on an NBA in a game that matters? I don't even know. I didn't even see the 9 shots. I mean, I actually they start passing out those stat sheets, and I was just absolutely I couldn't believe it. The 1-on-3 break. Did you see the possession the other night when he kind of it was you know what I'm talking about, the Zach Randolph with Isaiah Thomas looking on possession? He dribbles into traffic, almost loses the ball, backs out, dribbles back in. Like 2 guys open on the wing.
He is a beautiful, terrible player. I mean, the stuff he tries to pull is just phenomenal.
I mean, I kind of needed someone to kick around, and I wasn't really finding it on the floor. I'm not going to kick around Randy Foye. I mean, Randy's a good dude. And
he gives an honest effort.
He gives an honest effort. He's the best lobber on the team. But you know what? Now I'm kind of hoping Nick stays around. I mean, the truth is, by the way, I'm not anti-Nick. I wasn't against the acquisition. They gave up nothing. They gave up absolutely nothing. Any GM has to take that deal. They actually were able to slough off Brian Cook's contract and like a second rounder. I mean, I have no issue with the deal itself, but he is just spectacularly awful.
I love one of my favorite parts of watching a Clippers game is I will see Nick Young make a play and I instantly go to Twitter to see what your next tweet is. It's such a suspenseful moment.
Nick Young is sort of like Evan Turner in that like both of them will get the ball and you can see that they're like, okay, I'm gonna do like this between the legs, this crossover, this spin move, this step back, and like I'm shooting it no matter whether this gets me open or not. And I'm going to do like 4 moves in a row to get this shot. It works more often for Turner, and when Young does it, I mean, at least Turner, like, you imagine he could pass out of it, he could make a smart read. But Young, it's like he hits a combination of buttons on the controller, and then like basically his avatar is doing that move, and there's nothing he can do about it.
You know what? The funny thing about Nick is, I don't think he sees himself as a gunner. He'll say things.
What the hell does he see himself as?
No, he'll say things like, I try to pick my spots.
Everywhere's a spot.
Right, exactly. I mean, so he's not obfuscating. I mean, he just tries to pick his spots.
The spot he picks is like 94 feet long. It's just 47 feet wide, 94 feet long. That's the spot.
It is rectangular in fashion, yes.